This film study video is going to be about Seahawks corner Tariq Woolen, who turned in a historic season for any corner, but particularly for a rookie corner in 2022. And my attempt to explain how I think NFL teams tried to adapt to his unique set of skills, size, ball skills, awareness, coverage ability, and figure out a way to not, when you play the Seahawks, just avoid that side of the field altogether, because Tariq Woolen generally plays on the right-hand side of the Seahawks defense, left-hand side for the offense. Look, another point that I'm going to bring up here in the beginning is the whole argument among high-level DBs or corners recently on social media was really perplexing to me, kind of disappointed me, to be honest with you. I was glad to see most current players avoid it. Asante Samuel and some of these other guys going at each other like that was crazy. I was worried that guys like Tariq Woolen and Ahmad Gardner were going to get caught up with and against each other, and I'm glad that they've been respectful toward each other because they both had such fantastic rookie seasons, an amazing impact for their teams. And in some cases, they were asked to do similar things, even though they play on opposite sides of the fields. Gardner plays on the Jets' defense's left side, and like I said, Tariq Woolen plays on the right. Look, this video is going to focus on how I think NFL offenses began to try to attack Woolen and his unbelievable start to the 2022 season. I don't really think that's even the most accurate way to describe it. Perhaps I should say how NFL offenses played keep away from Tariq Woolen after Week 6 in 2022, because those first 6 games were simply overwhelming in impact. Historic doesn't even get to it. Through 6 games, in case you don't know, 4 interceptions, including a defensive touchdown against the Lions, I think Week 4. In a 48-45 win, 1 forced fumble, 2 fumbles recovered, a blocked kick that a teammate returned for a touchdown, I think against the 49ers in a game where they really got outplayed. Their offense did nothing. Another 5 passes defense during that time. I think he finished with 16 passes defense for the season. Multiple coverages played throughout 2022. Just unbelievable performance for a rookie, ability to play multiple coverages from the Seahawks platform. I thought was even more noticeable than some of the playmaking that he displayed early in the season, which is, just numerically from a statistical standpoint, he wasn't going to be able to keep up that pace. He wasn't going to end up with 12 interceptions, for a season. But in any case, let's get some of the plays rolling. This first set of plays, to be honest with you, is going to show Woolen in coverage. Great in man coverage, if you ask me. It's a tackle against Taysom Hill on a short yardage. I think the Saints did get the first down. He does a nice job staying in zone. He does a nice job at staying between high and low routes, as you see a rep of him playing man where he wasn't targeted against the Falcons. In what I think are pattern read coverages for the Seahawks, split field, I guess we'll say. I think he reads and reacts very smoothly, but with suddenness, if it's possible to be smooth and sudden at the same time. If it is, I think Tariq Woolen is the guy who can do it. Amazing ball skills, clearly. 6 interceptions and 4 through his first 6 games. His anticipation of certain routes is very sneaky. I'm showing a play here against Arizona where, he's jumping this out. Now, this is a 3rd down. He's going to jump this out. He's incredibly prepared. I don't know if it's his coaches or him, but it's almost like he knows certain routes are coming at times out of particular formations. And like I said, I think this is Week 6 against Arizona where he's jumping this. He's not targeted. It was a 3rd and 6. They throw short or underneath and don't get it. He seems very adept at keeping his eyes on the quarterback at times. Now I will parlay that, however, into I think teams as the year progressed tried to use that against him in 2022. And by when I say teams, I mean most specifically the 49ers. And there'll be an extensive amount of film shown here later of the 49ers trying to not be one-handed. They're trying to not avoid Tariq Woolen's side of the field and come up with concepts that they can use to his side. Great job, covering in man there. He wasn't targeted again. Teams can avoid him to a certain extent. He does play outside corner on the defense's right, so you know where he's going to be. By the way, he looks like he's a fantastic special teams player. Unbelievable talent for 6'4", 205, 210, something like that. Dealing with him, targeting him on direct plays I do think there was a time in 2022 when teams moved away from that. I watched 6 games for this film study, and so this is the first section of plays I'm going to show you. Um, I think there was a point in time, and this video is sped up here, by the way, obviously. I think that there was a time when teams realized we should avoid him on certain concepts. We should avoid because he has the ability to do what I talked about here the first time you saw this play, which is know the route. That could be his position coach. It could be the defensive coordinator. It could be Tariq Woolen himself. It could just be occasionally, sometimes something he does during the game. But you'll see examples of him jumping routes. Whether he is or is not targeted is not the concern of this video. It's the fact that you have this incredible athlete who is so multiple in coverage with great ball skills, who simultaneously seems to be able to apply things quickly during the game. That would just be he's intelligent. He's extremely intelligent during the play. It's an example of him playing cover 2 where, maybe he could continue to sink a little bit more and make that quarterback's throw not so easy. I don't even know whether it was completed or not. That's not the point here. He's in man on Marquise Brown on, I believe, another third down. Like I said earlier, it wasn't targeted. That's actually a second down. I do think there was a time, like I said, where teams decided to either avoid him or not go at him at all on direct flow concepts. We're going to get to some of the film here against, this is the Raiders in Week 12. I think this first play really illustrates his intelligence, in my opinion. I am blown away by this play, to be honest with you. The ball is thrown there. It's a little too high for him to deal with. His back is turned because it's man. He's defending Mac Hollins, who's, I think, 6'4" as well. He's covering him in man. Just check out how he plays the leverage. I believe Woolen knows the route. I just do. He's got the speed to run with Hollins. He's intentionally allowed Hollins to get deeper than him in this direction, with no safety help over the top to his side. So it's not like his trail man and you've got a free safety sitting somewhere up here that makes the quarterback's throw more difficult because you got a corner playing underneath. That's the trail, and then you've got to try to throw it, over the top of that corner, but underneath the safety. It's very difficult for me to draw the proper angle for that throw. But in any case, he's got the speed to keep up with him, to keep up with Hollins. This is intentional. Hollins played very well in that game, by the way. But Woolen is choosing not to keep hip to hip with him or keep leverage side even with him. He's choosing to stay inside leverage because he hedges towards the middle of the field. That's where the ball is thrown. It's man, so Woolen isn't turned around. So, he can't make a break on this ball as it's thrown. It's thrown a little high by Derek Carr and to the inside. It wouldn't surprise me if Tariq Woolen turned around and made a play on the ball. It's just a fascinating play to me. He does not have any help over the top, but he's letting Hollins, it's a 3rd and 10. He's letting Hollins get upfield deeper than him. And he was right. I mean, he was right in terms of the route that was run. It was an in-breaking route. Woolen, to me, along with all the physical gifts he has, seems to be supremely intelligent and able to adapt during plays. And, I can't prove it because I'm not sitting in their meeting rooms and, I don't have access to any of their scouting stuff or anything that Tariq Woolen said. Maybe he talked about that route and that play in a press conference or something like that. I don't really follow those things. But, look, that's exactly where the football went. Like I said, it was a little deeper and a little bit more inside than it could have been for Tariq Woolen to make a play, or for Hollins to make a play for that matter. But still an incredible play for me because I think it just shows how intelligent the dude is. In that Week 12 game, look, the Raiders tried to get him on a flea flicker that you'll see here in a moment. Here he is covering Davante Adams, not targeted. Somewhat similar to what I described in terms of trail man. Here's that flea flicker. And as the play rolls back here a couple of times, you'll see Davante Adams act like he's giving no effort to block. This is another reason, this is a side note, it's another reason why I struggle to criticize players at certain times because you never know when a play is a setup. You never know when a player giving less than full effort is a setup for something. Anyway, the Raiders tried to get him on this. Basically, it looks like a stutter go by Davante Adams, but, again, really, it's a flea flicker. And instead of throwing to Davante Adams, their Carr throws to Mac Hollins, ends up being, he's wide open on a delayed route from the other side of the field. It's a touchdown. Nothing about this is Tariq Woolen's fault, but I do think that it's It's week 12. These things started to show up more against Seattle's defense later on in the season. I think it's an attempt to kind of play keep away from Woolen if they couldn't trick him. Now, you could say, hey, you could throw the ball here to Davante Adams. I wouldn't argue with you there. But you also see plays in this video of Tariq Woolen being able to recover, when he is beat. That's one of the things that's unique about him as well, besides the physical gifts, the intelligence, the ball skills. He can recover because of all those things that I mentioned. I just think it's a really interesting play that the Raiders did this, and that it looks to me like it's a two-receiver route, the first of which I think is to attack Tariq Woolen. And it ends up being a clear-out route in its functioning because Davante Adams takes Woolen with him into the safety, neither one of whom is adjusting at all to make a play on the flea flicker. Next play is conceptually similar, I would say. Now, this is from week 13. It's a throwback to the running back by the Rams. The number one receiver from down here at the bottom runs a clear out. Now, maybe the Rams thought Woolen would go with him, based on the coverage, based on whatever they thought. So when I say number one receiver, I'm talking about, I think it's Jefferson down here, but I could be wrong. Woolen does not go with him. Woolen zones this off. Once he realizes that, it's a play fake, it's essentially a clear out route. I would say it's similar to the last play by the Raiders, where there's hopefully going to be some vacated space created by getting Woolen the heck out of there, getting him out of the way. Anyway, Woolen zones off after he initially bit on the play fake. If you've lost track of him, here he is here. And this is the running back. This is the throwback element that I'm describing. You can see the quarterback is to the opposite side of the field where the boot was, and he's trying to bring this all the way back to the running back over here. Is it trickery? I don't know. I don't really like that word. I would call it deception. I think Woolen's eyes do tend to be heavy into the backfield, and I think that may be one of the things that the team saw as, hey, if we're going to attack him, we're not going to attack a walled city, Woolen being the walled city, who's very good at defending direct direct route concepts. Let's attack him with some of these things that provide a little bit of deception. Or let's just clear him out of here, like you see here the Jets do in week 17, I believe, and then try to attack up the field into that vacated space. When I say vacated space, I mean they're getting a route that's pulling Woolen out of here and then attacking in the vacated space, over here, which I can't really draw exactly where the ball ends up being targeted or being thrown because, the all-22 view, but you see it now. He's spot shadowed, by the way. Tariq Woolen is spot shadowed, covering, I think, Davis. They're going to attack this part of the field. Well, if you did that with the receiver that Woolen was guarding, you run the risk of Woolen making the interception. I think part of the way that teams began to attack Tariq Woolen was not attacking him, was getting him out of there or giving him some eye candy, something to look at that would pull his attention and then throw the ball over the top of him, like you saw with the flea flicker attempt by the Raiders here. In any case, guy plays multiple coverages, shows an extreme amount of intelligence, ability to adapt from play to play, I think. I would describe him as, sometimes I use basketball references, I guess I could, but the one that I thought of was baseball. He reminds me of like a home run hitter that if you play his team on like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday series. At this point, I pay so little attention to Major League Baseball. I don't even really know what days of the week the series are normally played in terms of the 3-game or 4-game sets. But let's say he's just gone through a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday games where he was 1 for 14 with 7 Ks and didn't hit a single home run. If you see him next coming to your city for a 3-game set, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're like, oh my God, we got to deal with this guy. Sooner or later, he's going to catch up to fastballs and he's going to hit 3 or 4 home runs in a series. Football-wise, I think this is NFL offensive coordinators' admission that Tariq Woolen is like a home run hitter, meaning let's just play keep away. Let's just put the guy on base, or let's just not give him opportunities to kill us. And in this case, it's a throwback, to the running back. Looks to me like a design play, trying to get the ball to that area of the field, hoping that Woolen has vacated that space or fallen for the play fake. In any case, he did not. If you're a Seahawks fan and you watch this far, first of all, appreciate it. Second of all, tell me if this is consistent with what you guys saw. with how he was evaluated and how teams tried to attack the defense. I know the defense gave up almost 25 points a game in 2022, so it's not like they were a great defense, don't get me wrong, but Tariq Woolen certainly had a huge impact. This is a great play. I think this is his 6th interception of the season. Insane production for a rookie. I think I misspoke and said week 17 earlier. I don't believe it was week 17. But just to summarize for you, and Seahawks fans, like I said, are surely more aware of this. You got 2 plays here, week 12 and week 13. Raiders and the Rams tried to bait Woolen with the flea flicker and then the throwback play action. And Woolen just made a ridiculous play against the Rams. Conceptually, for me, I think those plays are similar. All right, going to move towards 49ers. Let's graduate in terms of the strategic approach. This stretch of plays is only from the regular season. So those 2 teams played in week 2 and they played in week 15. So this stretch here is only going to deal with those 2 games, and then we're going to separate the playoff games, and we'll show 4 plays from that game. I think there's some consistency with some of these play concepts from week 2 to week 15. Now, week 2, when these 2 teams played, nobody knew how insanely talented Tariq Woolen was. I mean, I guess people knew how talented he was. Certainly the 49ers coaches did, looking at the film, and the Seahawks coaches did, but because they played him so much. But no one knew about the production at that point. But let's get to the first play in this segment is a sail concept in week 2. And they're just running Woolen out of there. They're just running him out of here with a vertical. And then the number 2 receiver is a sail flood, I guess, actually, because I think the back goes out into the flat. So I call it flood. Other people may not. I call it flood whether it's from the same side of the field or a different side. But it just pulls Woolen and the safety out of there. I think it's a tight end, ends up being wide open. Nobody's there. It's a zone blitz, so 3 deep, 3 under. There's a flat route to occupy inside linebacker, so there's nobody to get to that depth. Conceptually, just clearing him out of there. So no fault of Tariq Woolen there. Second play. What are they doing? Well, they've got a linebacker matched up outside on a running back, and then now Woolen is guarding the receiver inside. Well, the 49ers know it's man. Not going to target Tariq Woolen here. They go at the linebacker. Whether it's a touchdown or not, I'm not sure. Conceptually, what are they doing? They're avoiding Tariq Woolen. You'll see this play twice in this cut-up, in this segment, I should say. Similar, you're going to get a running back come out of the backfield and then sit down. Sometimes you'll get a clear-out route by one vertical. Sometimes he'll bring this in, try to keep the corner occupied. And the linebacker, you get an outside release. You can see it's a switch release, so the tight end has run out into the flats. The number 1 is, maybe he's running an angled hook. Maybe he's bringing this vertical in some instances. But in any case, the real intention of this is the delayed hook by the running back. In this case, it was Deebo Samuel lined up in the backfield. Did the 49ers avoid him? No. No, they did not. All of these plays, Woolen's fault. Clearly not. Whether he's right or wrong, I don't care. The point is, this is how teams were attacking him, giving him something to deal with. What does this all mean? The 49ers were not avoiding him in the regular season. Just like the Rams and the Raiders try to do, they try to give him something to deal with and then work off of that. Meaning, okay, we'll attack him if he completely blows the assignment. But if not, we've got something else built into the play, built into the concept that we can use as a supplementary route. I believe this is the play that I was describing. You're going to see the same route by the running back sit down as the play that was in week 2 is diagrammed on the bottom side of the screen in San Francisco, like I said. So you get number 1 receiver getting off and giving Woolen something to keep him occupied here. Fullback out into the flats. And then the real design of the play, this is all just designed to clear out space for McCaffrey, who came from the backfield, so forgive me for the ugly line, and is going to sit down somewhere in that space between the linebacker and what looks like a strong safety to me outside. And you see Woolen had something to occupy him. So how do you attack Tariq Woolen? I don't know that you can consistently attack him and have him not make a play. The cut-ups I'm showing you, it may just be as simple as, well, they're avoiding him, coach. That's all they're doing. Why are you doing all this talking about it? Well, I'm trying to explain to you schematically how the 49ers did it in an elevated fashion compared to other teams, and then how they switched it up somewhat in the playoffs and even turned up the pressure on Tariq Woolen specifically. Possibly, if you ask me, a hat tip from NFL offensive coordinators, basically saying, "Hey, this is how good, how exceptional we think this guy really is, how dangerous he is. So we're not going to deal with him on basic concepts. We're going to try to be a little bit slick and avoid him if we can, or attack him if he blows the assignment." So again, if you're a Seahawks fan, let me know how consistent that is, and then we're going to move on here to the playoff film, where I think the 49ers kind of turned up the heat a little bit on Tariq Woolen. I think wild card game, just exponential attempt to stress him and that side of the field. Only 4 plays here, but I think they are revealing. And I'm really interested to see Seattle's response to this game, because the 49ers scored 41 points. I'm interested to see their response to this game in 2023. 49ers scored 41 in this game, 89 total in 3 games. And I think these two teams play in Week 12 and Week 14 in 2023, including a Thanksgiving night game. So in any case, Tariq Woolen is here. And check this out. Not only have they given him run action to deal with, the running back's coming downhill. You also have the H-back coming over to his side. But the quarterback's back is turned to him. So there's an elongation of the conflict that Tariq Woolen is in, if he is in fact looking in the backfield at this time. I suspect that he is, but again, I can't prove it. Certainly looks like his helmet is looking in that direction. In any case, you've got a tight alignment by the number 1 receiver releasing inside. He could clearly be going up to block the strong safety, except he's not. He's running a vertical, and this is an absolutely amazing play by Tariq Woolen, whose feet were just on the 17 when he realized, oh, I've got to recover. And look, is the ball underthrown? Sure. Is the ball late? Maybe it is. Maybe it could be thrown earlier. I don't care. It's an absolutely unreal play by Tariq Woolen, and that's how great he played in 2022. Possibly the most creative play caller in the NFL. Well, west of Kansas City, I guess. The most creative play caller in the NFL targeted him specifically on this concept. I think, if you believe what I'm saying, he targeted him directly. Quarterback, maybe threw the ball a little bit late. Doesn't matter. Tariq Woolen is so talented, has such great recovery and bursts. Feet around the 17-yard line, he's able to recover and knock the ball away. And it's probably like the 15th or 18th best play he made in 2022. It's unbelievable. For a lot of DBs, that'd be the best play they make all year. All right, another way the 49ers attacked him, and this is directly. So when I said it was exponential attempt to attack him, I meant it. This is a shocking run play. It's a crack on the inside linebacker. So give the 49ers credit on that. They're going to crack down with the fullback on the inside linebacker here. Receiver, who's spot shadow, is going to go get the safety. So they're going to leave Woolen unblocked. This tackle is going to work to the outside linebacker. Watch what George Kittles does. He works all the way from the other side of the formation to go get Tariq Woolen. I think this is absolutely by design. Goes for a big hitter. So give the 49ers credit. I mean, the blocking scheme worked perfectly. You can see Woolen unblocked. There's Kittle getting his hands on him. I don't know what Woolen could do there to prevent anything like this. I just think it's a beautifully designed play. And I suspect, and this is what I'm trying to explain to you, that the 49ers did these things intentionally. I'll get back to this play in a moment. How do you defeat a great player? You can't avoid him all the time on the football field, because you got to go to that side at times. To me, as a layman looking at Seattle's games during the 2022 season, it seemed like teams went at him later on some of these concepts that I'm describing to you. It did not seem like they went at him on direct flow stuff until this playoff game, where the 49ers basically wanted to set a physical tone. I love this play. I'm going to show it one more time, because what I really love is the cross action of the tackle getting out to the outside linebacker. So I'm talking about the left tackle here, obviously a great player. And then the crack down or pin down by the fullback, whose name I can never say, even though he played for the Ravens for years. And then Kittle inserting himself late to get there. The timing with him and McCaffrey is exquisite. I always call wide zone just essentially a version of buck sweep, but there's people who disagree with me on that. But certainly the timing of this is amazing, and it's a huge hole opened up. Tariq Woolen, to his side of the field. Could he have stopped it? No, I don't think so. He needs some fill inside. All right, the next one, and look, this is an interesting play. I think it's cover 3. Okay, I think it's a weird cover 3 where this outside linebacker sees the tight end go out into the flats, so goes with him. And that's Uchenna Nwosu, who's a really underrated football player. I've done a video on him previously. If you want to check it out, feel free. I'll try to link it up here in the top right if I can remember to do so. But in any case, I think it's a weird version of cover 3. It very well could be something different, where Tariq Woolen reads the number 2 receiver, Deebo Samuel, blocking. And so he can take number 1 man since there's no real threat to him at that time. If 2, which is Deebo Samuel, isn't running a wheel, and number 1, McCaffrey's going out into the flats, then he can take number 1 man. I don't know Seattle's rules at all. I don't know their coverage calls. So this is me speculating. I suspect that it's a weird version of cover 3 where you've got a lock or a man call here, because you can see it's definitely man. He's running with him. And then Woolen, who I've just never seen be this far behind this route in 2022. I didn't see it. In fact, he had a pick on a somewhat similar route. It was against a tight end, though, against the Lions, I think, in week 4 before Hockenson got traded. With his awareness and recognition, though, it would not surprise me if he saw the route developing and just went with it. But so there may or may not have been a match element to it. Sorry, I'm trying to get back to where that play was. There may or may not have been a match element to it. I think he's also really good at seeing the receiver and seeing in the backfield. So I think it's possible that he's seeing this route develop, that it recognizes it's going to be open because he knows there's a lock call over here, a man call to the backside. And if you're unfamiliar with what that is, forgive me, is that you've got one receiver here. There is a tight end here, but there may have been a man call for this far side corner. And that may be Tariq Woolen recognizing, okay, I know it's man, so I know that space is going to be open, so I can go ahead and run with this. I think he's a supremely intelligent guy, and his ability to process stuff in the middle of the play, it wouldn't surprise me if that's why this player looks so open, because Tariq Woolen had not been beat like that often in 2022, at least that I saw. It was very rare. I did not see him get beat like that, hardly at all. All right, this last play, again, is full flow. You're going to get the receiver, Ayuk, I think is how you pronounce it, stepping directly to him, and fullback inserting, tailback getting a big gain. Again, full flow to his side, which I didn't see a ton of early in the season. Certainly didn't see a ton of it being successful. So you guys, if you have more familiarity with the Seahawks defense and Tariq Woolen's play, feel free to let me know if my impressions are accurate or not. It seemed to me that teams were unwilling to attack him with typical concepts, and they were more willing to be a little bit deceitful until the wildcard game or the playoff game where the 49ers really just, took it to the Seahawks defense. I'm real excited to see these two teams play again in 2023. Like I said, I think it's week 12 and 14, and I think the week 12 game is Thanksgiving night. I want to see how the 49ers try to deal with Tariq Woolen. I do not expect them to have 4 or 6 interceptions by the time that game is played. I hate this word. I would expect that there would be some regression in terms of the turnovers forced. Just typical because of the high number of turnovers that he did force that he was involved in 2022. He's such an anomaly. Who knows what his interceptions, forced fumbles, etc. are when these two teams meet in Week 12, and that could impact the 49ers strategy. But I'm real interested to see how they attack him. Definitely going to be one of the games I want to watch, and I want to see if the 49ers avoid or choose to utilize some of these direct flow concepts. And in my opinion, NFL teams chose, as a result of Woolen's playmaking, to move away from the more direct stuff. And if you don't like that word, trickery or deception, feel free to supply a better word for me that teams may have used to kind of slow down this freak athlete that is Tariq Woolen and his ability to flip the ball, get the ball back for his defense, and possibly even score. look, I know Seattle gave up 25 points per game in 2022, so there's some people who might say, like, Coach, you're talking about one player and one, his impact. I just think he had a historic season for a rookie corner, and the Seahawks have the talent, if you ask me, to bring that 25 points per game allowed number down some. And to me, Tariq Woolen's a major part of that plan. So that's why I did this video, because I think it really showed how teams tried to adapt to the unique talent that they're faced with when they go up against the Seahawks and Tariq Woolen. And teams like the 49ers, I thought, had the best plan to try to mitigate some of his ability and limit his impact. And then in the playoff game, take the fight to him, kind of surprise him at times, like a 60-yard run that you saw by McCaffrey. If you appreciated this video and you're a football fan, Seahawks fan, whatever, please let me know in the comment section. Longest video I've done on a player, but Tariq Woolen is just such an interesting player for me to try to understand what he's doing, because some of these split field coverages, again, I'm not familiar with Seattle's calls. I don't have their coverages charted like I do like the Ravens, where I feel a lot more comfortable saying this is a particular coverage. Pretty confident in most of the coverages I told you in this video, but a couple where I did not, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's a man call, if it's a quarters call where he's just taking all of one based on two's release, etc. All I know is he's good at everything he does, and it was a wise move by NFL teams to try to avoid him on certain pass concepts, because if they didn't avoid him, he probably would have had 10 interceptions last year. Appreciate you guys' time. If you enjoyed the video, please consider grabbing a link, maybe sharing it on social media to help this video get more reach. If you have any ideas or suggestions for another player who was attacked in a specific way, if you follow my contention that that's what NFL teams did here, please let me know. Other than TJ Watt, I can't think of a player in the NFL who teams really avoided that side of the field with certain concepts because of the potential for big plays that defensive player could make. Appreciate you guys' time. Thanks for tuning in.